umdrehen. Und wir sehen. Vielen Dank. Noch. Danke. Okay, gut. Gut. Sehr gut. Vielen Dank, Kalindi. Du bist eine große Hilfe. Oh, ich brauche mein... Ich brauche eigentlich... Ja, okay. Vielen Dank. Nee, ich brauche das jetzt. Du kannst es jetzt nicht nehmen. Okay. Anmachen. Das muss ich dir noch. Ich muss das alles anmachen. Okay. Das ist mein, wie sagt man, Nachfolger. Wenn ich das nicht mehr machen kann, dann machst du das, ja? Ja, sehr gut. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopi Jana Vallabha
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Giriraj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, danke. Aha, wir haben das schon angemacht, Kalindi. Ja, ups. Ich weiß nicht, wann das angegangen ist. Okay. English. Sorry. Today we are reading from Canto 8, Chapter 12, verse 35. And I am very definitely not the most qualified person to speak about this particular verse, but such is life. All right. Skane ritasi sopashyat. Skane ritasi sopashyat. Atmanam deva mayaya. Atmanam deva mayaya. Jadi kritam nripashresta. Jadi kritam nripashresta. Sanya vartata kashmalat. Sanya vartata kashmalat. Skane ritasi sopashyat. Atmanam deva mayaya. Jadi kritam nripashresta. Sanya vartata kashmalat.
Kaneritasi Supasya
Kaneritasi Sopasya
Atmana Deva Mayaya
Namanan Vivamayaya
Dikritam Nipasrishtam
Dikritam Niprasishta
Sanyavata Prakashmana
Nagadhamakashmanan
Kaneritasi sapasha
Kaneritasi
Nitrashim Sopasya
atmanam
Manam
Devamaya
Devamayaya
ikritam vipashrishta
Dikritam Niprasishta Nagadhamakashmanan
Veneritasi sopasya
Nitasi Sopasya
atmanam devamaya
Manam Devamayaya
yadi kritvam vipashistha
Dikritam Niprasishta
sanyavartata kashmata
Nagadhamakashmanan. Right, thank you. Yatra, wherever. Nee, das ist jetzt Skane. Sorry. Skane, when fully discharged.
When fully discharged,
Retasi, the semen.
the semen,
Saha,
Saha,
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva,
Apashyat,
Apashat,
so.
so,
Atmanam,
Atmanam,
his own self.
his own self,
Devamayaya,
Devamaya,
by the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Dayamaya, Supreme Personality of God,
Yadikritam,
Jadikritam,
had become victimized
had become victimized
as a fool.
as a fool.
Nripa Shrestha,
Nirpashrishta,
O best of kings,
O best of kings,
Maharaj Parikshit.
Parishit,
Sanyavartata
Sanyavartata,
restrained himself further.
restrained himself further,
Kashmalat,
Kashmalat,
from illusion.
from illusion.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of kings, when Lord Shiva had fully discharged semen, he could see how he himself had been victimized by the illusion created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he restrained himself from any further Maya. Purport. Once one is agitated by lusty desires upon seeing a woman, those desires increase more and more. But when semen is discharged in the act of sex, the lusty desires diminish. The same principle acted upon Lord Shiva. He was allured by the beautiful woman Mohini Murti, but when his semen had been fully discharged, he came to his senses and realized how he had been victimized as soon as he saw the woman in the forest. If one is trained to protect his semen by observing celibacy, naturally he is not attracted by the beauty of a woman. If one can remain a brahmachari, he saves himself so much trouble in material existence. Material existence means enjoying the pleasure of sexual intercourse. Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham. If one is educated about sex life and is trained to protect his semen, he is saved from the danger of material existence. Haribol. Om Jnana-timirandasya Ginanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sachivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopeka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachari Shatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in this verse, so one more time the verse, O Maharaj Parikshit, best of kings, when Lord Shiva had fully discharged semen, he could see how he himself had been victimized by the illusion created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he restrained himself from any further Maya. So it's interesting that we know that everything in the spiritual world is a reflection, as a reflection we get in the material world, with the opposite consequences. So in the spiritual world, the feeling of separation is good, and it brings us closer to Krishna. But in the material world, it just brings suffering. If you lose things, then you suffer because you have this feeling of loss. In the same way, Lord Shiva could never be illusioned by Mahamaya. He could only be illusioned by Yoga Maya. So the illusion spoken here is Yoga Maya, and not so Deva Maya, and not Mahamaya, the illusion that we are under. But the principles remain the same. If we look at the 4 principles of regulation, no meat eating, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. And also, Maharaj Parikshit gave Akali the permission to live there where there is gold. So anywhere, and obviously that's sort of included in gambling, because gambling has to do with money also. So if you look at those 4 areas of life, we know just by looking at the world that that is where the most suffering occurs. If there is illicit sex, then there is suffering, 100% guaranteed. If there is gambling, 100% guaranteed. 99.9% of the people who gamble, lose immense amounts of money, they suffer. So it's the same here. How many people, or how many men and women in the world can tell us about the immense amount of regret they feel the morning after? If they have a one-night stand, if they have some fun the previous night, then the next morning they wake up, maybe next to a stranger, maybe next to whatever, and they think, oh my God, what have I done? So, and this is what Shiva was feeling. He's like, okay, so it builds up like a steam cooker, and then you let the steam off, and then rationality comes back, and he's like, wait, what just happened? And he restrained himself. But there there are a few things in this verse that we need to discuss. Number one, in the sentence, Prabhupada says, if one is trained to protect his semen by observing celibacy, naturally he is not attracted by the beauty of a woman. That's the one sentence. So this idea of celibacy, and then if one remains a brahmachari, he saves himself from so much trouble in material existence. That's the other thing. What does it mean to be a brahmachari? And material existence. Okay, so this quote that Srila Prabhupada says, he uses the word Griyamedi. So in the Pocket Vedas, they actually give the quote, the reference. So that's what I wanted to.
Maybe sounds like a Grihasta that just enjoys himself in
Yeah.
existence.
So, but I want to just give the verse from which it is quoted. That is verse 35. It's going to take a bit. So, it comes from this quote, Yan Maitunadi Grihamedi Sukam, comes from 7:9:45, and the verse says, sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Griyamedis, so-called grihastas, who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The Kripanas, the fools who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are Dhira, however, who are sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. So what you said, Griyamedis are those people who are married or not married, but in a relationship, and they have no spiritual knowledge. So that's in all circumstances, that's the deciding factor: is do you practice spiritual life or don't you? We see this in all cultures, that the sanctity of marriage is very important. In the Christian culture, we understand that they believe that, like we, sex not before marriage but in marriage. So the Christians believe that you have to be married in order to have sex. These days, not so much anymore, but it's still there. In the Jewish culture, they are even more stricter. So they are closer to us, to Vedic knowledge, than the Christians, in that they only have sex in the fertile period. So they are extremely strict. So in the Orthodox Jewish communities, after a lady had her days, she has to go to a ritual cleansing bath before she can go back to her husband. They separate everything. She can't even touch all the things that he touches. So they are very strict. And in the Vedic, we in Krishna consciousness, Krishna explains that in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 11, he says that I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. So, in the purport, Prabhupada describes it that similarly, sex life according to religious principles, dharma, should be for the procreation of children, not otherwise. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says all the things that he is, not like he is sex life according to Dharma. So, and we can understand that celibacy is not just not having sex at all, like the brahmacharis or the sannyasis or the vanaprasthas, but also that within grihastha life, within married life, if you follow that principle of only having sex when you want to have children, then you can also be considered a brahmachari or a celibate, because that is according to the religious principles that Krishna gave us. And he says, Krishna is not going to say that he is sex life that is according to religious principles if that is not true. And so, yes, if you can avoid married life, then Prabhupada says you can save yourself so much trouble, which is true. If you get married for the wrong reasons, then yes, you are going to suffer. Or if you get married because you feel like it's a free pass to have fun, then yes, you are going to suffer. But conversely, the brahmacharis that stay brahmacharis that shouldn't be brahmacharis, they also suffer. So the brahmacharis that can naturally restrain themselves, obviously they can stay. But the grihastha ashram is an ashram, and it is very necessary because we need Krishna conscious children, and Krishna made, he provided for that. So and in this sense we can see that even Lord Shiva, who could not be disturbed, was disturbed only by Krishna in his form of Mohini Murti. So we understand that this sex drive is basically what makes the world go round. That's basically what people want, and all, not just in gross forms but in subtle forms as well. So we need spiritual life in order to regulate it. And I don't know, or I can't speak from a male perspective because I'm not a man, but this principle of maintaining strength in your body, if you don't lose your semen, that applies to women as well. We don't have that process, but it's just that energy that goes into having sex, you can use it for something else. And if you keep it, and if you keep it and you use it in something good, then it gives a lot of strength. But the point here is that we all have to be very honest with ourselves in terms of what we need to follow a balanced Krishna conscious life, because most people, men and women, need to get married, but then the principles of grihastha life, not griyamedi life, apply. And even then, it is an austerity. It's an austerity to have that opportunity, but then to restrain yourself from using it. And it's true that even when people are married, and even when they love each other, it's very subtle, but in sex life you can also exploit your partner even when you are married. And that's what Krishna says. That's what he's trying to tell us, to restrain from, to only use it to procreate. As I said, I'm not qualified to speak about this verse, but to summarize, we all know what it means to regret not restraining our senses. We all know that Krishna says that he is sex life according to religious principles, and even within married life, you can be considered celibate if you follow those principles. And if you avoid breaking the principles, not just this one, but all principles, then you are protected from the danger of material existence. Because Kali can only get to you if you go to one of those areas and if you do one of those things that are restricted. So it's Prabhupada, I don't know who said it, but someone described it. It's not, we don't follow restrictive principles, we follow the principles of freedom. Because if you avoid the places of suffering, then you are free to develop your spiritual consciousness, which brings the most amount of joy. All right, that's it. I'm not going to say anything more. Anyone have anything else to say?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I heard that it's like also the principle, but I heard that it's like different standards in Hasta life.
Yes, of course. In Grihastha life, we give the highest principle, and the highest principle is that you have only sex for children. And that's what you should strive for. That's, you know, that is where you should get to. I once was in a question and answer tent in the on the Polish tour, where Mahatma Prabhu was. So it was a festival, and there was a question and answer tent, and the Indradumna Maharaj, Mahatma Prabhu, Chaturatma Prabhu, all the people who were there, they would have sessions where people could just come and ask questions. So there was, Mahatma Prabhu was there, and there was this young man who got up and he was asking about this. But he was a very free person, so he had many lady friends and he had many sexual encounters, even on one day. And Mahatma Prabhu at eventually, so basically when you have to deal with a person like that, you cannot tell him that he should only have sex for children, because he will become offensive and he cannot do it. He's not on a level where he can do it. So Mahatma Prabhu said, well, at least just try and have less. So try and restrict yourself to less, or if you can, just one person. He wasn't talking about marriage. He wasn't talking about sex only for children. He was just saying, try and restrict yourselves, restrict yourself. So, and within Grihastha life, we have desires, and we have, men and women have desires, and there are some people who say that, I'm sorry, I can do the marriage thing, but I'm not at the level of having sex only once a month or whatever. So, and you have to try and reach this level, but you also have to remember that you have to be able to serve Krishna in a balanced way, with joy and happiness. And we should know that we shouldn't use married life as an excuse to just go wild and do whatever we want. So do your best, basically. but know that that is the standard that you should get to. Because if people try and repress things in an unnatural way and too early, then it will come out in destructive ways somewhere else. If you restrict yourself by not having sex with your wife, then if she says no and you have that need, it may happen, and it has happened, that some men then go to prostitutes. And that's something to be avoided. So I know that this is a hot topic, and many people have different opinions, but the point is to always to be able to serve Krishna in the best way that you can, and to know that Krishna consciousness is it's a journey, it's a developmental thing. And if you cannot reach the highest level at the moment, do it step by step. Yeah, so that's what I can say about that. Do you have any comments about that? What is your...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know. You.
So, it has a consequence.
It has consequences.
It has
If
big consequence. So, first of all, what I wanted to say is just I met a brahmachari, and he's in the group of this Atlanta life devotees. And he said to me when I was telling him about what happened to me in the temple room, that I was affected by sexual energy sent out by a Mataji, and I was extremely affected. My heart became completely poisoned by this, and I had only one thought: I must jump on that woman. And then he said to me, and it was very, very interesting, he said to me, rather than breaking your vow, you give up your life. It was very a statement from his Guru Maharaj. It was like, ooh. But also I directly took shelter. And that is an interesting thing. When you know that it's not good to do that, you make a vow, just take shelter, ask Sri Chaitanya, and I did that directly. Please help me out of this. And I ran away, and the whole thing was cut off. And even when I was in a relationship with Mataji, she was very nasty towards me. She said something like, I'm flowing like the Gangas, and anyways, such things. And I said to her, just don't take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ask him for help, because you don't need this at the moment. It's not good to practice this now. And she did it, and it was point directly cut out of the situation. It was gone. So the lasting desire was finished, was gone. So that's something we can also consider this, just take shelter instead of doing it. Try it at least. It's a possibility.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is, if you are in married life, or if you are, I mean, it's Shishi Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai. If you're a brahmachari, I'm not going to speak about that, because that's a whole other ball game. I'm talking within married life. That yes, of course, I didn't mention it, and I should have. That's what I mean with always striving to do better, is that you take shelter of Krishna to ask you to protect you from whatever. But yeah, so take shelter, and if you cannot, if something happens and you have a little bit of an accident or whatever, then you just try better next time. That's what I'm saying, is that we have to know that we are very fallen souls, and we are very lusty, and we are very poisoned by the material energy, and we cannot expect ourselves to be pure souls where we are from. It's a journey to get there, and the journey is not to destroy yourself by rather than becoming bitter and saying, oh, I can't do this is stupid, Krishna is stupid, I'm just going to do it, whatever. That's not good. But just stay where you are, serve Krishna, and try to do better every time. So, and don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up for slipping or making mistakes, but don't use it as an excuse by saying, I'm weak, I can't do it, so do it anyway. Always try, always try to do better. It's the I can't remember the exact words, but someone said, what is the definition of success? And one definition of success is that if you fall down 99 times, the definition of success is that you pick yourself up 100 times, right? So do not just let go. The point is that we always have to serve Krishna. We always have to try and develop our relationship with him, and we always have to try to do it with as much authenticity and joy as we can. And know that we are going to slip up, we are going to make mistakes, we are going to not be able to take shelter, or we're going to be obstinate and stubborn and whatever, but always try to do better. And yeah, honesty and authenticity is the best thing. And that's why, for all the people who are not married yet and want to get married, that's why we have premarital questionnaires, so that people can talk about these things before they get married. Because some people just get married because they fall in love, and then later on they talk about their expectations about sex life, about children, about religion, about money. So those four things are the things that can break a marriage: sex, children, money, and religion. So those things have to be discussed before, so that you know what to expect and that you can be honest. Yes, Prabhu.
If illicit sex has a direct connection with the money, there's nothing that is written in the Bhagavatam, the second canto, somewhere in the purport. Nothing destroys your blessings according to long life, health, money flow, life energy. So money flow is life energy more than illicit sex. And I can just sign this directly because when I had my Ayurveda practice, and as soon as I had a relationship with a woman, after we were first time in bed together, directly the next week all people were calling me and not coming. So it was very clear connection. That was the money was stopped for 1 week. Very interesting.
Yeah, because
So
it's to do.
And you can't just use it for that. No problem. But after a while, everything is finished. And very clearly, it has enough effect on life energy with this flow.
Yes, but it has an effect on your life energy, and you can this energy is capped. It's not you people. I mean, people get a package of life energy,
Yes.
and if you waste it, then you can't regenerate it. It's gone. It's finished. So, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say, is always take shelter of Krishna. Krishna says that even if you have material desires, come to me. So even with your material desires, you come to Krishna. Even if you have horrible desires, you take shelter of Krishna and ask him to organize it, or just take it away, or just do something. But yeah, so don't take shelter of the material energy, take shelter of Krishna, and always try and be as authentic and honest and truthful to yourself and to Krishna, and always try to do better in all circumstances, not just with this, but yeah. So okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnava And to all the internet users, I don't know when this video went on, but they may have seen strange things happening.